Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name's Devin Adams. I'm a Fortinet instructor for Dynamic Worldwide here in Tempe, Arizona, and I record these videos for my peeps, the people who take my class. And I have a whole backlist of videos that I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm just trying to build the infrastructure or the topology that I need in order to do those examples. So I got tons of them. Like I said, there's too many to list, but basically a lot of it has to do with the SD-WAN. A lot of it has to do with routing protocols. Also, there is some domain controller stuff in there that I have to do, but nothing can be done until it's built. So now here's the thing: I've recorded, it seems like, the same type of videos over and over again. So if you guys go to my playlists from my channel, I know I'm probably not organizing those rights if they don't play back to back to each other. There's a good chance that whatever you're looking for, if anyone's looking, it's there. So I just want to throw that out there. This isn't anything new that I've done. Now, the reason why I build it from scratch is, I don't provide the configuration files. There's no way to host them, and plus the VMs are only good for so long. Um, and on top of that, I don't like YouTube magic. So, in other words, I don't like stuff that's already perfectly set up and ready to go. I much rather show you when crap doesn't work, also. So, with that being said, I just apologize about the redundancy. So, in the last video, we just simply had a WAN connection, which is a pfSense router, and this is going to act as our make believe internet pretty much. It's using fake IP addresses. When I say fake, I mean private. So if you see 10.200, just pretend like they are public and they're routable. This is the real internet, and this is NATing to my real outside connection. And this is providing us with the real internet traffic. And this right here is a teraterm box, net term box, not teraterm, sorry. And this allows us to manipulate the bandwidth and the quality of the bandwidth, and that's going to come into play when we do our SD-WAN rules. Okay, so and then we have the FortiGate that's running the latest version of 623, and in the last video we just kind of cleaned up shot and made a connection. So in this video, because I really want to keep these short and I never do, we're going to add the additional 3 links, add it to an SD-WAN connection, and then license the FortiGates, and then call it quits. And then the next video is going to be, I need a domain controller for half of the questions, not half, but a good selection of the questions that I got. So I'm going to implement a domain controller. So, but let's go ahead and get that over with right now. So this right here already has the icon changed, already has it labeled kind of correctly. I'm just going to take advantage of that because there's no IP addresses here for this net term box. So I'm just going to shut it down, right? And then I'm just going to right click it right here and hit duplicate. And this is going to be my second WAN connection. So, which is going to plug into the FortiGate. So I'm just going to rename it. Now I do this for me. So when I am doing my configurations, I can see what public IP addresses I'm make believing here. So I know that this side is going to be 254 and this side is going to be 1. So let me go ahead and cable that in there. All right. There we go. All right. And I pre-configured this pfSense for 10 interfaces, and starting with 0, this interface here just is .1 or .1, .2, .3, .4, .5. So that's how I know which ones to use. So let me go ahead and duplicate another one. All right. And I'll just go ahead and I'll change that to 3. Okay. Oops. I should do the /24. It's not really a /24, but just habitually I'm gonna do it as a /24. I might put a switch in there later if I do high availability. And let's just do one more here. All right, so there we go. All right, and do a 24. Okay, and let's do our cabling. So here we go. So we'll say port 3 to port 3 and port 4 to port 4. There we are. So, and I'll probably cosmetically clean this up. That's the kind of stuff I'll do off the camera, just because I know it can get kind of messy here, and I could probably spend all day just moving things around trying to make it look okay. Anyways, let's go ahead and turn these on though. All right. And basically, that's going to simulate us having 4 different internet connections into the FortiGates. Now, the SD-WAN solution from Fortinet's, you can either use it very basically, just for like failover and also, a load balancing solution, or you can set SLAs on it and actually do forwarding decisions based off of quality of the links, and we'll eventually get there. Okay, so but right now I'm just going to kick these things in. I'm going to drop it to the SD-WAN interface, and pretty much switch over my normal WAN connection into the SD-WAN connection. So I'm going to do this with my handy dandy GUI. All right, so here we are. And this right here is just a web term box that we installed in the last video. All right, and I'm already logged in. Okay, and this is still using the free license here. So you can use the free license that you get off of the support contract up to 15 days the second you drag, drop, and turn it on. I am going to license it though, because the people who asked the questions in the class, they obviously have their FortiGates in production, and I can't do those with the limitations of the free license. And those are like only a handful of firewall policies, little cryptos, and things like that. But just practicing the SD-WAN rules, you can use these, and they work pretty well. So especially getting used to the interface, getting used to the CLI. So, but let's go over to network. Let's go to our interfaces. All right. And we should have some blank interfaces here. All right, so 2, 3, and 4 were the ones that we connected up. And as you can tell, they're not in use. And to add it to the SD-WAN interface, you have to make sure that there's no reference numbers here. Because if it's being referenced in a firewall policy, or if it's being referenced in a route, it can't be added to the SD-WAN. So what we're going to do is still leave our connection up and running the normal way. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and switch over to the SD-WAN once it's configured. And you know what? I see this is how you do it in a real network. So obviously a maintenance window and a rollback and all that jazz. In fact, don't forget, guys, that you can come over here to configuration revisions. Okay, and every step of the way you can kind of make an entry for yourself. So you can say something like pre SD-WAN config, right? And then that way you can actually see what was changed in the GUI, how it affected the script, so on and so forth. And if you need to roll back, you can roll back. So don't forget that you have that option. So, all right, here we go. So here's port 2. Now I would in a real environment have the habit of naming things after the carriers that are on the other side. So I had Cox Communication on one side. I'm going to just say something like I don't know, like level 3 or something like that. I'm just making these up, of course. Here we go, and it's going to be 2.1/24. All right, and I'm just going to turn on ping access for testability. Okay, but normally we'd leave that off. All right, and then here we can say that it's a WAN. These just hide certain settings for you. You don't need to turn that on. I'm just turning it on to turn it on. So I'm going to hit OK. All right, and then I'll continue with number 3. Okay, so here I'm going to say it's I don't know. I'm trying to think of carriers here. I'm just going to say something like DSL. It'll be our DSL connection. I can't think of a DSL provider off the top of my head. Here we go. 200 3.1/24. All right. And like I said, the ping access is just for our test environment. Usually don't have the ping access on the outside interface. And then last but not least is going to be port 4. And I'm going to say something silly like, come on guys, help me out here. Like like you guys can speak to me. Oh, okay, AT&T. Sure, why not? Trying to think of carriers here. Or you know what? I'll even say something like LTE, right? That's a popular one as a backup connection or something like that. Using like a 40 extender in the mobile network, 10.200.4.1/24. There we go. Ping. All right, so the IP addresses are on there. Now, in real life, it would probably be like a /30, and you'd have a public IP address. All right, so we're just making believe. Okay, so I think it's cute that it puts these in alphabetical order now instead of by the port. That's something that I just noticed about the new flavor of FortiOS. Anyways, but let's go ahead and add it to the SD-WAN. So once again, it's a part of the support contract, so we're going to enable it, okay? And it does look like they did switch some things around here, or it looks cleaner anyways, but I'm going to go ahead and add the members. So I'm going to start with my port 2. Now, it's saying I can select port 1. That is weird. Is that something they changed? Can you now reference? Let's try it. You shouldn't be able to. Um, if they fixed it, that's a pretty big deal. So, but what you're supposed to do is add in your connections, and this is going to be the next hop, okay? And that's to get out to the gateway. Oh my gosh, are you serious? You can now add interfaces that are in use to the SD-WAN? Guys, that is new news to me. Let's see what happens though, because it used to be that if it was already in use, you couldn't do it. Um, Interesting. Like I said, I teach out of the 620 material, and I've not played around with 623 yet. But let's keep going here. So here's our level 3. All right. And by the way, you can manually set a cost. Obviously, higher the cost, the less preferred the link. That way, it gives you some kind of control over, judging which connection would be preferred over the other. I'm just going to leave them for 0 because we can change those later. Here we go. I'm just floored right now that you can add that because you weren't supposed to be able to. So, all right. And here we go, port 4. So 10.200.1, oh, 4.254. Okay. So, and this would be the other side of our WAN connection. All right. So as you can see, they're all equally distributed, and where the magic comes in is these SD-WAN rules, which we'll get to in another video, but I'm going to hit apply. And like I said, guys, I have no idea how this is working with that port 1 already being referenced. So I'm just kind of in shock here. Do we still have internet access? Yeah, looks like it's still, maybe. Yeah, it's still flowing. I'm just surprised. See how port 1's being utilized? Wow, I'm gonna have to look into that, guys. That actually makes flipping over to the SD-WAN a heck of a lot easier. So, but basically, in order to get the SD-WAN to actually start flowing and to use it, normally you'd have to first write the firewall policy. Um, and here there's a real easy trick. If you already have one in use the way that you want it, I know that this is a very simplistic example, but you can copy and then paste it below, all right? And then get in there. And this is our old, internet connection that actually this is flowing through right now. But now I'm going to say something like internet SD-WAN, all right? So incoming is going to be our management port. Our outgoing is going to be SD-WAN, all right? And yep, NAT, yep. And then if you come all the way down the bottom, we can go ahead and enable this policy. And then we hit OK. Oh, I am just floored, guys. I had no idea that you could do that now. That is just mind-boggling. Used to not be able to reference interfaces outside of the SD-WAN. Let's see what happens. As you can see, it's still hitting here because there is no default route. And it's really the default route that's going to make it happen. Now I have no idea why it's glowing here. Anyways, but let's go ahead and take a look. So because normally our last step would be for the static routes, and our quad 0 here, we'd have to drop it down and select the SD-WAN. And then it'd start using the SD-WAN, and then we'd go and take out the port 1, and then we put the port 1 in. I do have videos of that for older versions of the FortiOS, and I swear that's how it worked in 6.2.0. Let's see what happens though if I try to do 2 quad 0s. I shouldn't be able to. Here we go. SD-WAN, hit OK. Okay, see what it's saying there? You cannot have duplicated routes on the SD-WAN and the non-SD-WAN interfaces. So it is still letting me reference it, but you still have to take out that port 1 quad 0 or it's not going to work. So, but still, guys, that makes managing it a heck of a lot easier. So, let's just do it like this. All right, there we go. We're now using the SD-WAN. So, just to make sure that the firewall rules are cleaned up, we don't need that redundant one anymore. All right, and that would kind of be our last step, is to delete this one right here. Now there is an implicit load balancing if you don't write any rules. So even if you use the SD-WAN for just this, okay, think of it as like a smart zone. And that way there's some intelligence there on what links that you throw in there. But if we come down here to our network and our SD-WAN rules, okay, I'm going to change that load balancing algorithm, because normally anything that has the same source IP address will always leave out the chosen random member. Now, when it gets to the quality part of forwarding packets, you have to set up the health checks. And like I said, we'll do it in a different video. But I'm going to come in here just to test it. So I'm going to say source destination IP address. All right. And then I'm going to go to one of my favorite websites, make internet noise. Internet noise. And this thing hasn't been working that. Look at this. Adult content. Now, why am I getting a block page from my Forta client? So this website is actually generates traffic to trash your service provider's DNS resolution so they can track where you're going. So it's kind of like it's kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like against the empire kind of thing. Um, Anyways, my client on my machine is running Forta clients. So the host machine is actually blocking it from my PC from home. So good to know it's working. All right. So, in other words, guys, it blocked it through here, up here. So, in my host machine. I don't know why I got such a kick out of that, but let's make some noise. Okay. So there we go. It's just randomly selecting websites to go to. It doesn't redirect anymore. That's something recently it's been doing weird, but it'll at least generate some traffic so we can see it being distributed. So to verify everything's working correctly and going down multiple paths, we can take advantage of the FortiView and go to all sessions. Okay, and then from the all sessions, we can go ahead and see the destination, the source port, blah, 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 blah. But more importantly is we are going to right click and add the destination interface. All right. And we should see it. Yep. Look at that. Bing, 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 bing. Yeah. It's distributing the traffic evenly across several different paths. So, pretty slick, guys. So there you go. The SD-WAN is working. So the very last thing I'm going to do in this video, once again, I've gone way too long and I've been kind of speeding through because I've done videos on this before, even though I am awfully impressed about the ease it is. They've laxed the requirements of building the SD-WAN. It used to not let you add in an interface that was in use, but it looks like you can do that now. So, which is actually pretty darn amazing. So, but the last thing I want to do in this video before I call it quits is doing a license. Now, this license can be a VM license that you purchase from your reseller. It could be a demo license they give to you. I've heard people tell me that there's demo licenses. It could be a free license. It's a license file that I use in my lab classes for testing proof of concepts. So it's obviously something that's not free. It's something that we purchase, and just for this demo, I'm gonna use it. So anyways, but that way it will kick in the full features of the FortiGate here. Um, but let's do it. So to drop a license file on one of these is we go to System, all right, and we go to our FortiGuard, all right, and then from here we're gonna say we have a license file. Where is it? They always move it. Oh, there it is. All right, and I'm going to drop my my like file in there. So here we go. And these are the different FortiGate licenses that we as an organization own. So I'm going to borrow this license right here. All right. Okay. And then once it reboots, it will verify it and it will be uploaded. Now, the big question is, while that's rebooting, is how do you get it into GNS3? That's going to be all up to you. A couple of ways that you can do it is if you have a Windows machine in here, you can just do an SMB file share and just reach out through that direction. I guess you can do that with the Linux box too if you wanted to, because it will actually NAT all the way out and find your host machine. You could do an FTP server the same way. I just find it easier if you have internet access already in your environment. I just use my drop storage, guys. So I know that sounds silly, but I just literally went to OneDrive, logged in, downloaded my license files, and got it into GNS3 just that way. So kind of, kind of making it as simple as possible. I'm a simple kind of person. I don't know. So anyways, I just want to verify that that comes up as licensed. So here we go. It looks like it did. And we do a admin, log in with our credentials, do a git system status, and then you can see it's pending. Now, that's not uncommon, okay? It takes a while for it to reach out and verify the license. It doesn't happen automatically. It will eventually do it. If you guys want to force it, you can do an execute update now. And I kind of feel like this is like hitting the elevator button a couple of times. You know what I mean? It doesn't make the elevator go any faster, but you never know. It's just good luck. But eventually, we should get a valid. So, eventually. Anyways, it might take a few moments. I'm not going to worry about it. So, but it usually goes faster than that though. Unless I have this running somewhere else and it's going to be pending a dupe license or something like that. Yes, you can't recycle these things over and over again. Let me just verify it super quickly because it is technically up. All right. It's going to let me log in? Probably not. All right. And like I said, it's usually just a patience game at that. And by the way, I'm adding a new exemption because the self-signed cert is bound to a serial number. So technically the self-signed cert for the web portal did become different when I dropped a license file on it. So, but here we go, we're logged in now. And now I should be able to have enough resources to, oh, see, there it goes. Ta-da! Good times. It found it. So I should have enough to do some demos going forward. So once again, way too long. Once again, it's redundant. So sorry guys for the redundancy. So in the next video, and hopefully I get to it today, we're gonna actually put a Windows server in here because, like I said, a couple of my questions that I have to answer is through the domain controller. So, all right, guys, thanks, and I'll see you again real soon. So.